obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The city of Lincoln is cracking down on businesses that may be fronts for illegal activity. Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch indicates that they recently dealt with a situation involving a massage parlor in town that was engaging in illegal activity behind the scenes. He said it is a tough balance between stopping crimes from happening in these businesses while respecting the rights of those who are operating honestly and legally.
We've had massage therapists in Lincoln for a long time, just like every community. It's not uncommon. But here in probably the last year, we had a situation where a massage parlor popped up. And on the surface, it looks like they were providing that service. When we got into it, we realized that there was other things that they were attempting to do. So we wanted to make sure that if they were operating in the community, that they were doing so. The reason we're talking a lot about this at the city is because our ordinances were not designed to allow us to quickly respond to the situation that was going on. And so it really required a lot of effort from our chief of police and our city attorney to, I guess, get in there and shut that nefarious activity down that was going on. And so in attempting to try to solve that problem and give us a little bit more teeth to jump in there and react, we've had to take a little bit of a pause and make sure that when we are making changes that we're not severely impacting other businesses that are currently operating under the city. Because when you talk about massage parlors, it kind of falls under this big umbrella, and we don't want to hurt our existing businesses.
The topic of these massage parlors has been discussed openly at recent city council meetings, and Mayor Welch says they have even heard from members of the industry who are against the illegal activity of their peers.
We've been working through that. We've had a couple open discussions about it in council. We've had some people from the massage industry come in and speak to us and share their thoughts about it. So it's a work in progress, but we have to change with the times. That particular location that popped up in Lincoln, we learned about it because they were soliciting those services, I believe on Craigslist or one of those websites. And yeah, it was kind of a shock when it happened. So I think that is the rub right there, is how to be thorough but move quickly. Mm-hmm. And in our attempt to be thorough, we've got some feedback that maybe our ordinance that has been proposed might be too thorough, I guess is a way of saying it. It has a lot of things in it that some may deem to be overly restrictive in existing businesses, such as the layout of your location and the dimensions of it and and the activities going on. Well, again, we don't want to impact businesses that are here that are, following state guidelines. They're licensed, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. In this particular instance that prompted a lot of this individual or couple individuals that were operating this location, they weren't licensed. They weren't doing the things they were supposed to do. There was things that were going on inside the building that were just unacceptable in our community. And so when we found out about it, our attorney and the chief of police had to work with the judicial branch here locally to get court orders to be able to go in and address the problem. We're modifying our ordinances so that we don't have to go through all of those hoops again. Mm-hmm. That process took us about 2 months to get resolved. Well, a lot could happen in 2 months. We want to move swifter than that. We want to resolve things within days, not months.
We'll have more from Mayor Welch in the weeks ahead from the Hart Media Group on anti-soliciting efforts being taken up by the city. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Social Security highlights process for overpayments. A local nonprofit is making a change that will let it focus more on serving its clients. Shelley Tolley with OSF Piecemeals indicates that in the new year, they will be using a program called Serve Tracker, which will allow them to digitize their operations and make their processes more efficient.
If anybody's familiar with like a computer system that does everything for the hospital, that's what we're moving to. It's called Serve Tracker. And we're starting to implement this new software program that will help us become more efficient and save time with our resources. First and foremost, we have to get everybody into it, which is 1,200 people trying to get everybody into it and making sure everything's done exactly right. But the software will enable us to do auto routes. So I'm a home delivery meal coordinator. I sign them up. So then I will type them into the system, and then it will send off all these things. It will put them on a route sheet. It will put them on a report. It will put them on a lunch count. So all that stuff will then be automatically done, which will free up time for staff to be able to do more client-focused work instead of like typey work.
The new software will also help the organization keep routes efficient and safe and make it easier for drivers to report when a client does not answer the door.
And then it will also when I'm doing a route, I'm subbing a route, I'll be like, I was just at that house and now I'm back at this house. Human error. We only know, okay, I'm going to put this person here. I think this is where they go.
Yeah.
And then I cross Mattis 4 times. I'm like, I don't want to cross Mattis more than one time. If you're in the Champaign area, Mattis is like one of the main roads. I call it accident row because every time I'm on Mattis, there's an accident on Mattis. So anyway, it will help us do all that stuff. It will also, right now, if a driver goes to the door, knocks, they have to go back to their car, call the client. If the client doesn't answer, then they have to text us. Then we have to follow up. This new app, all they'll do is push a button and it will say client not home. It will send me or the other home delivered meal coordinators a message, and then we will follow up with them. If say Sally calls off after the route goes out in the morning and Nikki can push a button, it will notify the driver, hey, Sally called off, no need to stop. So it takes a lot of that, guesswork out. Like, did they get notified that they're not going to go?
Clients should not notice a difference in their service. Tolley explains the change will only affect the internal operations of Piecemeals. She notes that if anything, clients may notice better service.
Nothing to do with the client. Yeah, it's all the program. So it was just going to help us to be more effective and more efficient.
Sure.
So no, the clients don't have anything to do with it. They will see improvement on our end because we'll have more effective routes. The donation letters will come out almost instantly instead of, right now it has to go through 2 people's hands to get out the door. We're shooting for January 1st to make it live. So that's our goal. Because like I was telling you in the break, we have to enter all these people in, then go back through and make sure they're on the the right route, making sure their days when they get the delivery is correct. So all that stuff has to go in there. So, but we're very excited and we're hoping that launches January 1st. It's going to be big help for the office people.
Tolley reminds that they are looking for donations as community members begin to think about end-of-year giving. You can learn more and donate by visiting osfhealthcare.org. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Extra model year savings are available. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have 2025 Silverados with extra savings as well as a few other models now. See our 2026 Silverados in regular cabs, double cabs, and crew cabs in gas or diesel. We also have a good selection of the all-new redesigned Chevrolet Traverse. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. See all our inventory at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time is 19 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Social Security strives to pay the right amount to the right person at the right time. They have done this with a high degree of accuracy over a massive scale of beneficiaries. However, despite its best efforts, sometimes they get it wrong and pay beneficiaries more than they are due, creating an overpayment. Jack Myers with Social Security indicates that it is required to correct that overpayment.
Yeah, it's important to talk about overpayment, Seth. It's not good news when you find that you've been overpaid from Social Security, but it's important that we talk a little bit about it, what your options are, and kind of what to look for there. Of course, what we do at Social Security is we strive to pay the right amount to the right person at the right time. And we've done this with a very high degree of accuracy over a massive scale of beneficiaries. But despite our best efforts, we sometimes get it wrong and we pay beneficiaries more than they're due, which creates an overpayment. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into that. That could be because something wasn't reported to us. That could be because we didn't get to it in time to make the change, but it can happen. And when that happens and an overpayment occurs, Congress requires that we make every effort to recover those overpaid benefits. So I would like to spend a little time talking about what happens when there's a person that gets overpaid and what options you have.
If you are overpaid, you will receive an overpayment notice that can simply repay the overpayment, request an appeal, or request a waiver.
If you're overpaid, you're going to receive a letter in the mail and you will have the following options. You can either repay the overpayment, you can request an appeal, or you can request a waiver. Now, if you choose to repay the overpayment, that would be a situation where you agree with the overpayment. Maybe you're currently receiving benefits and you can, have your payment withheld from your future benefits. Or if you're not receiving benefits, you can repay it to us in one lump sum or through some sort of monthly payments. If you don't respond to the letter, so if we send you a letter and tell you that you've been overpaid and you ignore it, what we'll do eventually is we'll start withholding that from your ongoing payments if you're still in receipt of payments. And the default withholding rate is 50% of your monthly Social Security benefit or 10% of your SSI payment. But we don't require that. So if you can't afford to have 50% of your payment withheld, we do offer flexible repayment plans. We used to ask that you agree to an amount that would repay the debt within 36 months.
According to Myers, a recent change allowed for a repayment within 5 years and at least $10 a month to allow recipients to continue to afford their expenses.
But now that's been changed to 60 months. So basically, you've got 5 years to pay that back at 0% interest. There's no penalty, nothing like that. So you can just set up an amount that would repay that in 5 years, and that's fine. Now, if that would make you unable to meet your necessary living expenses while repaying the debt, you can also ask for a lesser repayment rate. There's a form called a 634 request for a change in overpayment recovery rate, and you can get that on our website. Even with that form, the lowest repayment plan we can approve is $10 per month. So you got to pay at least $10 a month. Otherwise, it ends up costing us more money to process your payment. So that's kind of a minimum threshold there. If you don't agree with the overpayment, you don't think the facts are correct, you can appeal it. that would be a reconsideration, Form SSA 561. And this stuff, the form numbers, they're going to be in the letter. So don't worry too much about the form numbers. But you could say, hey, I don't think that's right. I'm going to appeal it. I would ask you, if you know it's right, please don't appeal it. I mean, if you know the facts are correct, don't appeal it, because that takes time for us to process. If it's just an exercise in futility, don't bother. You still have the right, you can, but I'm just saying, hey, if you know it's right, don't appeal it. If you think it might be wrong, go ahead and appeal it.
Myers indicates one of the ways to help prevent overpayments from happening is to report changes important to Social Security. Visit ssa.gov/locator for more information. Ameren, Illinois is focusing on natural gas safety here in the coldest time of the year. Whether it's your furnace, stove, or other gas appliances, officials with the utility want you to be aware of what to watch out for and what to do if you suspect a leak. For example, if you smell something similar to rotten eggs, that could be a sign you have a leak. If you catch a whiff, Ameren, Illinois spokesman Jake Duquette says you should leave the premises immediately and call Ameren, Illinois at 1-800-755-5000. Then the professionals can determine if there is a leak and if it's coming from the infrastructure or one of your appliances.
And then we'll also ask for the assistance from the local fire department helping get that structure opened up and ventilated to a safe level where we can go in and investigate. Once we've determined that it's safe to go inside, Ameren, Illinois gas crews will come inside and thoroughly check through all gas appliances, all gas fuel lines, and go through the entire structure to ensure that there's no gas leak inside or determine where the gas leak is coming from.
He says they would always prefer that you err on the side of caution and call if a leak is suspected. They're calling them first day hikes at 17 state parks on January 1st, including Lincoln's New Salem State Historic Site in Menard County, where Troy Gilmore is superintendent. He says use the hashtag IL First Day Hikes for your social media.
Yes, we do have special first day hike stickers. So there's one specific that New Salem has designed. And then there's one for all of the state parks. So you come by New Salem and you're going to be able to get your choice of 2 stickers that day. And they're on kind of a first come, first served basis. So we've got a limited number of those. We're hopeful that we've got enough for everybody, but make sure you show up. Now, on the 1st at Lincoln's New Salem, this is something that's really interesting for us, is that these will be led hikes. So there will be volunteers from a good partnership that we have with some folks called Menard County Trails and Greenways. They do a lot to help us in our natural areas, clean up invasive species, and they do a lot of litter pickups along the highway that runs right through New Salem. And they will be leading hikes at 10:30 on the 1st of January. So you can come by, get your sticker, sign in, utilize that hashtag, promote the parks, put it out there on your social media, and enjoy the morning. Now, these lead hikes, I have to say, we've got 2, I said that we have about 7 miles of trails at New Salem. So we've got 2 that they will be hiking on. One is a half-mile loop, and the other one is a mile loop. So if you want to stick around and do both of them, you could get a 1.5 miles in, or go out and hike on one of the other trails on your own, definitely.
For more information, go to dnr.illinois.gov. Now for your local obituaries. William R. Bill Rittenhouse, 88, of Farmer City, Illinois, passed away at 6:55 p.m. Wednesday, December 17th at Haven of Farmer City. His visitation will be held from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday, December 23rd at Calvert Bengali Bruce Funeral Home, 106 North Main Street in Farmer City. A memorial service will follow at 7 p.m. at the funeral home with Kyle Kopp officiating. Interment will be at a later date in Maple Grove Cemetery, Farmer City. Memorials may be made to Haven of Farmer City or the Champaign County Humane Society. Forrest Wilford Willie Fentress, 91 of Farmer City, Illinois, passed away Wednesday, December 17th. Visitation will be held from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. today, Monday, December 22nd, at Calvert Bengali Bruce Funeral Home in Farmer City. His funeral service will be held at 1 p.m. Monday, December 22nd, at the funeral home with Pastor Emily Little officiating. Interment will follow in Maple Grove Cemetery, Farmer City, Illinois. Memorial donations may be made to the DeWitt County 4-H Fair Association in Clinton, Illinois. Anthony W. Mills, 67, of Clinton, Illinois, passed away at 12:08 a.m. December 19th, 2025, at Goldwater Care in Clinton. There will be no services at this time. Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton assisted the family with cremation rites. Memorials may be directed to the disabled American veterans. Online condolences may be made at calvertmemorial.com. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all, it's all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. There is speculation the fingerprints of Ukrainian intelligence are all over this operation in Moscow. A car bomb has claimed the life of a senior Russian military official, a Russian general. Weekend talks on ending the war in Ukraine, both productive and constructive. That's according to President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. A pursuit on the high seas in the Caribbean, the Coast Guard going after an oil tanker in international waters. The ship is carrying sanctioned Venezuelan oil, according to U.S. officials. Promoting a big tent, Vice President Vance says the conservative movement should welcome anyone who loves America.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Jaquan Johnson had 5 rebounds and 5 steals for the Braves. Alex Hubergast scored 13 points while shooting 5 for 12 and added 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and the Braves picked up their 6th straight win, taking down the Southern Illinois Salukis 73-69 on Sunday. Damian Mayo Jr. finished with 18 points and 4 steals for the Salukis. Rollins Allegby added 16 points and 8 rebounds for Southern Illinois. Bradley went into halftime leading Southern Illinois 39-34. Johnson scored 13 points in the half. Hubergast led Bradley with 9 points in the second half as his team was outscored by 1 point over the final half, but held on for the victory. Chase Walker had 18 points in Illinois State's 85-65 win over Indiana State on Sunday. Walker added 5 rebounds for the Redbirds. Ty Pence scored 15 points, going 6 of 8 and 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Johnny Kinziger finished 5 of 9 from the field to finish with 10 points. Ian Scott finished with 20 points for the Sycamores. Indiana State also got 11 points and 4 assists from Xavier Hall. Camp Wagner also recorded 10 points and 7 rebounds. Illinois State took the lead for good with 13 minutes remaining in the first half. The score was 42-25 at halftime, with Walker racking up 11 points. Illinois State pulled away with a 7-0 run in the second half to extend a 16-point lead to 23 points. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Monticello scored the first 18 points and throttled Sullivan 69-34 in non-conference high school boys basketball action Saturday evening at the Seaver Center in Monticello. Aiden McCool hit a pair of threes in the first 4 minutes of the game, and Matthias Rudolph was aggressive to the basket, scoring 6 points on a layup and 2 free throws. After James Feldkamp's three cut the Redskins' deficit to 25-11 in the second quarter, Monticello scored the next 17 points to open up a 42-11 lead with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in the half. A Connor Wallen three-pointer opened the fourth quarter and triggered a 30-point running clock for the remainder of the game. Rudolph led Monticello with 18 points. McCool scored 11 points. Nolan Bennykemper had 8 points and 8 rebounds for the Sages. Luke Murphy scored 8 points, all coming off his defensive pressure. He added 3 steals and was the State Bank of Bement player of the game. The Sages controlled the glass with a 32-18 margin. The Sages shot 54% from the floor, just 5 of 22 from 3. They were 12 of 16 at the foul line. Monticello scored 40 of its 69 points in the paint. They turned 20 Redskins turnovers into 23 points and had 18 points in transition. The Sages defense held the Redskins to 36% shooting, and Sullivan was just 1 of 5 from the foul line. Sullivan is 5-5 on the season. Monticello goes to 5-1 overall. It's off to the Holiday Hoopla Tournament starting next Friday, December 26th, with a pair of games at 11:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Hear all the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Caleb Williams threw a 46-yard touchdown pass to DJ Moore in overtime, and Chicago overcame a 10-point deficit late in the fourth quarter Saturday night for a 22-16 win over the Green Bay Packers, who lost quarterback Jordan Love to a concussion. The Bears, who are now 11-4, extended their lead in the NFC North to 1.5 games over the Packers, who are 9-5-1. With 2 to play, and got some payback for a loss at Lambeau Field 2 weeks earlier. It was Chicago's 6th win this season after trailing in the final 2 minutes, and its most incredible. Green Bay had a win probability of 99%. Chicago clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2020 with Detroit's loss to the Steelers in the afternoon slot on Sunday. Cairo Santos kicked a 43-yard field goal that got Chicago within 16-9 with 1 minute and 59 seconds remaining. The Bears had no choice but to try an onside kick, and Josh Blackwell recovered it. The Bears tied it with 24 seconds left when Williams beat an all-out blitz on fourth down and lofted a pass to a wide-open Jade Walker in the right corner of the end zone for a 6-yard touchdown. Johnson opted to have Santos kick the tying extra point rather than going for a 2-point conversion. In overtime, the Packers had a 4th and 1 at the Chicago 36 when backup quarterback Malik Willis fumbled the snap. Chicago overtook at the 36, and 4 plays later, Moore hauled in the winning touchdown from Williams with Keeson Nixon draped all over him, setting off a wild celebration. 2 weeks earlier, Nixon sealed the Packers' win when he intercepted Williams' pass in the end zone. This time, the Bears came out on top with a play they installed in the days leading up to the game. Already missing Micah Parsons after the star pass rusher sustained a season-ending knee injury in a loss at Denver last week, the Packers had to get by without Love, who took a helmet-to-helmet hit from Chicago's Austin Booker in the second quarter that led to a roughing the passer call. Love jogged to the medical tent and then headed to the locker room. Williams completed 19 of 34 passes for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. With 8 career fourth-quarter comebacks, he tied Bo Nix's NFL record for quarterbacks in their first 2 seasons. Moore had 97 yards receiving, with Rome Odunze missing in his 3rd straight game due to a foot injury. The Bears won their 6th in a row at home since a season-opening loss to Minnesota. Love led 2 field goal drives and completed 8 of 13 passes for 77 yards before getting hurt. He had 9 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions in 5 previous games against Chicago. Willis was 9 of 11 for 121 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs had 84 yards and a touchdown catch, though he was also injured during the game with a wrist injury. The Packers host Baltimore next Saturday. The Bears go on the road to visit San Francisco on December 28th. Tommy Rittenhouse threw 2 touchdown passes to Daniel Sobkowitz, and Victor Dawson rushed for 155 yards and a score to lead Illinois State to a 30-14 victory over Villanova in an FCS semifinal on Saturday night at Villanova Stadium. The Redbirds, who are now 12-4, put an emphatic end to the Wildcats' 11-game win streak and will play Montana State in the title game on January 5th in Nashville, Tennessee. The Bobcats beat Montana 48-23 to advance. Illinois State lost 37-7 to Southern Illinois to close out the regular season before pulling off road wins over Southeastern Louisiana, North Dakota State, UC Davis, and the Wildcats to reach the final. Rittenhouse and Sobkowitz teamed up for a 53-yard score late in the first quarter to give Illinois State a 7-0 lead. Dawson scored on a 1-yard run at the end of the 13-play drive, aided by 3 Wildcat penalties, for a 2-score lead in the second quarter. Rittenhouse threw a short pass on first down that Seth Glatz turned into a 68-yard gain and then hit Sobkowitz 2 plays later for an 8-yard touchdown and a 21-6 lead at halftime. Michael Cosentino did all the Redbird scoring in the second half with 2 third-quarter field goals and another in the fourth. Rittenhouse completed 18 of 38 passes for 251 yards with an interception. Sobkowitz had 7 receptions for 97 yards, and Dawson did his damage on 34 carries. Pat McQuaid had 199 yards on 13 for 30 passing for Villanova. That included a 16-yard touchdown throw to Antonio Johnson with 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Jack Barnum kicked 2 field goals. Illinois State gets its second shot at a championship. The Redbirds were runner-up in 2014, losing 29-27 to North Dakota State. It was the 4th of 5 straight championships for the Bison. Villanova beat Montana 23-21 in the 2009 championship in Chattanooga, Tennessee, its only appearance in the title game. 3 third-period goals, including a pair from David Perrin, powered the Ottawa Senators to a 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks on Saturday. Despite a solid effort, Chicago lost its 5th straight game. Perrin scored his first goal on the power play and the second off a great pass from Tim Stutzel. Fabian Zetterlund added a late goal to ice the win for Ottawa. Stutzel had a goal and 2 assists, and Tyler Clevin and Brady Tkachuk also scored for Ottawa. Levi Merilainen had 20 saves. Ilya Mikheyev scored twice for Chicago, and Andrei Burakovsky and Nick Lardis, with his first NHL goal, also scored. Arvid Soderblom stopped 34 shots. Ottawa appeared to take a 2-1 lead on a goal by Dylan Cousins, but the goaltender interference was called. The Senators challenged, and referee Bo Halakidis initially ruled there was no goaltender interference, only to correct himself a few seconds later. Ottawa found itself shorthanded after the challenge, but Stutzel took advantage of a turnover by Teuvo Teravainen at center and beat Soderblom on a breakaway. Chicago's Frank Nazar took a puck to the face early in the period and did not return. Clevin left midway through the second period with a lower body injury. The Blackhawks host Philadelphia on Tuesday. The Senators visit Boston on Sunday. See highlights of your local high school program by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platform, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.